Hey folks, Kevin here. Well, it's July 28th, 2023. I'm out in the first food forest. So every day, Thea and I get in Suki there, the Kubota RTV X1100C, and we do basically a ride about on the property and see how things are doing and all. And today it's going to be another one of those real hot, muggy days. So I just got done chasing a couple of the deer out of the food forest here a few minutes ago. They're welcome to eat as much as they want, but some things happen as a result of them being in the food forest and my not thinning fruit appropriately. So here's one of our blushing star peach trees here. So we discovered this last night on our roundabout. These peaches are about a little over a week from getting to the point where they'd be ripe, and 2 years ago I lost another main limb off of this tree due to the same reason. So they get laden with the fruit, lots and lots of big beautiful fruit, and then what happens is the deer come along and they start nibbling and eating all the leaves, and they work their ways up and they pull down on those limbs, and the weight of all of the fruit that's on the tree in conjunction with the deer reaching up and grabbing more and more and pulling it down, that creates too much stress for the branches, and so we lose some of these limbs as a result. Now this tree is still potentially salvageable, but I have to do some heavy pruning today. And one of the things I'm going to do, since these aren't too far away, so naturally this would be the beginning of the second week of August is when these fruit will be completely ripe. But we can speed up the process potentially and salvage some of this fruit. What I'll do is I'll take off the limbs, bring them over here, pull off the fruit that looks real good, no damage whatsoever, place them in some of the bins that I've got here, and we'll let them try and ripen the rest of the way. So the fruit, like apples and peaches and plums and all, they emit a hormone, ethylene, and that's one of the ways that we can, by packing the fruit not too tight together. So that's why I'm using several bins and only single layer or double layer, so we can keep a close eye on them. But ethylene is going to speed up the process of the fruit ripening. So that's one of the things I'm going to do today, is go in here and see, can I repair this tree as much as possible. These limbs that are snapped down are not salvageable, but there's a few limbs on there that could remain viable enough. They're viable enough that they may help the tree to survive. And we'll just take it from there. We'll harvest some of the fruit and see what looks good. I'll bring my pruners over, prune off the limbs, bring the limbs over here, separate the really good fruit. Anything that looks damaged at all, that'll go out with the rest of the limbs into the hugelkultur pits. So, gonna get started. Well, it's time for breakfast. And I got the first phase 1 pruning done with the peach tree. So it looks much better. You can see some of the main spots I had to prune here. And I took off the one from last year as well here. So, and I pruned off all of the fruit that was on these remaining limbs. And as I mentioned before, this tree has had brown rot in the past. Actually, there's some evidence right here in the ground, which is a fungal disease. It's an opportunistic fungal disease, and it can spread pretty darn well. 99% of the fruit actually looks good with respect to fungal opportunistic infections. Certainly there's lots of bird and mammal chew spots. Here's the material that's left over. So I'll leave it here for until after breakfast, and I'll come out with mini-me with the grapple and grab this and bring it over into a different part in the forest where there's no fruit trees, and let everybody, the wildlife, munch on it. Then it'll go into the hugelkultur pit. Here are the bins that I've got here. Since there is brown rot on the tree, one of the things I will do is do a very dilute Clorox or chlorine solution to go ahead and just give them one quick bath, and we'll go through them and see if there's injured spots or funky looking ones like this, crevices. They go on out to the wildlife, and so I'm sure there's probably 5, 10, 6%, you know, maybe as much as 12% of these that I'll discard. Then the chlorine will completely evaporate, leave the scene, and we'll put these into a location where we can monitor them closely, but we won't leave them bunched up like this. We'll get some good clean bins, lay them out like single layers, and check them every single day for ripeness and all. A lot of them are small. I mean, I don't know. So we got some small ones here. It's a bit of a pain. Some that are more normal sized peaches here. These are really super delicious peaches. So it's a shame this happens, but it does happen. And there's a whole bunch of peaches on the floor over there by the tree. And we'll just leave them there for a day or two. And then I may come up and well, maybe as much as a week. Let the rodents and the birds have at these. And so when you have a disease like brown rot, you really don't want to leave a lot of that material around. You want to pick it off the ones. There's another peach tree right there. I'm not going to check that out now. We're waiting for a cooler day. But this one usually goes first, then that one, then the one that got damaged the other day by the deer pulling down those limbs. And they're not the limbs of that peach tree, but from the honey locust that crashed down on it and snapped it. So, time for breakfast. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. And stay safe and take good care of yourselves, folks. Bye-bye now.